Hi, my name is Renee Heichel and I'm from Minnesota. Before I got started in business, I was working over 60 hours a week in corporate America. I never got to see my children and we were well over $400,000 in debt. I got started in this business, plugged right into the system and the training, and plugged into First Steps to Success with Danny Johnson. In my first year, I became a six-figure income earner. In my second year, I tripled my income and paid off over $110,000 worth of debt. My life absolutely does not look the same. I encourage you to get started at the highest level that you can, get plugged into the system and training, and get yourself to First Steps to Success immediately.
Prior to getting started with Coastal, I was working in corporate America, and I had actually been in other home-based businesses for 3 years, and I didn't have any success. Okay. And the reason I got started with Coastal is because I saw a system that I could do. And I immediately plugged into the system with Danny Johnson, and within 100 days of plugging into Danny Johnson, I did over $50,000. My first year, I did well over a six-figure income, and now I'm averaging over $20,000 per month. My recommendation to anybody is to get plugged into the top package, come into the highest possible level that you can, plug immediately from day one into the training, and just follow in the footsteps of other successful people, and that's what I did.
Prior to getting started in my Coastal business, I was a teacher for 24 years, and while I really loved my job, I was going deeper in debt and I had no time freedom. So when I started my business, I did quit teaching, and for the first 3 months I worked hard at it but not really very smart, and I made nothing. The next 3 months following a Danny event, I went home and earned $60,000 in my business, and in the first year I paid off $51,000 in debt. I love my new job. You really need to start at the highest level possible and attend a Danny event to get your business off to a start right from the very beginning.
My name is Katherine Rupp and I'm from Missouri, and prior to getting started in business for myself, my husband was getting ready to go to medical school, which meant two things. We were going to go even further into debt, and I was going to have to go get a full-time job, leaving my twin boys, Gavin and Evan, at home. I didn't want to do that, so I found Coastal online, and I'm so scared to do the investment because I just thought, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do? But then I thought, but what if it does work? So I got on board, got on the top level, and in 4 months made $34,000 because of Danny Johnson's system. In the last 15 days, I made $6,400. So just suggest everyone not to mess around. Get started at the top package, do what your director says, and get plugged into First Steps to Success monthly. You will not recognize your life a year from now.
Before I got started in my business with Coastal Vacations, I worked full-time as a registered nurse. I love my job, but quite honestly, I just wasn't making enough money. It was like I was getting deeper and deeper in debt, and I quickly saw myself getting sucked into the rat race. I ended up getting started at the highest level that I could. My first year working part-time, earned over $70,000. My second year, I left nursing behind. Coastal Vacations had become my full-time income, and my second year earned over $120,000. I would recommend anyone looking at getting started, get plugged in at the highest level that you can, and immediately get plugged into our advanced training with DannyJohnson.com and First Steps to Success.
Prior to getting started in my Coastal business, I was a 19-year-old college student, just going deeper and deeper in debt. I was working part-time as a waitress, making about $8,000 a year. I had no skills that I needed to run a professional business, but I plugged into some advanced training with Danny Johnson. In 1 week, I was able to make $9,600, which, surpassed what I was able to make prior to that in an entire year. And I just used the systems, I plugged into the training, and I already don't recognize my life.
I was married, raising 4 children, working in the steel industry for 30 years. That was followed by 2 successive layoffs, which left me totally without control. And that's when I crossed paths with Coastal Vacations, and that's when things really changed. My life really changed. The system was very easy to follow. Recommended advanced training with Danny Johnson. I came out of that seminar and I jumped all the way in. I upgraded to level 3, and within 60 days of upgrading, I had earned $23,610 and literally was on my way to a 6-figure income. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to follow some steps and get it going.
When I first got started looking for a home business, I didn't have any idea what I was going to do. I needed a business. I wanted to stay home with my kids. So I found a business, found Coastal, got excited, didn't have the money to get started. So I actually went out and pawned the title to our car and sold all of our living room furniture in a yard sale to come up with the money to get started. But I ended up, my very first month, we were very blessed. We made $14,000 our first month. We've now been in it for almost 8 years. And 6 months ago, I started plugging into the Danny Johnson training. and it took my income up 270% just plugging into the training that she offers to our team. So it's the right opportunity, it's the right training, it's the right place to be.
Before, I was working as a kitchen designer, and I worked about 60 hours a week. It was impossible to have a life and help out with my family. So whenever Coastal just kind of fell in my lap, I wasn't even looking for a business, and I thought, okay, let's go. My director said, do you want to be phenomenally successful? And I said, well, duh. So he said, go into DannyJohnson.com, and 3 months into the business, I made $12,000. I now average about $3,000 a week. So my advice to you is come in at the highest level that you can come into. That'll be the most profitable thing that you can do for yourself, and it will change your life.
My name's Emmanuel. I'm from California, and prior to getting started with Coastal Vacations, I spent over $100,000 on my education, and 3 years later found myself flipping burgers for a living. I got started at the highest level I could, even though I didn't have the money, and plugged into the training. I made $2,000 my first month, and now 18 months later, I'm having a lot of fun, average about $3,000 to $10,000 a month. I just suggest that you get started at the highest level you can, plug into DannyJohnson.com, and 6 months, a year from now, you won't recognize your life.
Prior to getting started with Coastal Vacations, I was a full-time teacher coach, working about 11-hour day. As soon as I signed up with Coastal Vacations, I came in at the highest level. I plugged immediately into Danny Johnson, and within a 4-month period, I was able to match my monthly teaching salary and quit my job. The next month, I brought in $20,000, and now I'm averaging $10,000 a month. And my suggestion to you is come in at the highest level, get plugged into Danny Johnson, and watch your life change before your eyes.
Hi, my name is Ashley, and I'm from Florida. Before I started in Coastal, my husband was working too hard, lots of hours, and I really wanted to help him and still be with my children. I got started at the highest level I could, and I plugged into the training with our team and Danny Johnson, and I've already made $1,000, and I'm now excited for my future. I know that huge success is just around the corner.
Before I started my business, I had no belief in myself, I had no confidence in myself, I had no faith in this industry, and I had no faith in God. I went to my first steps in Virginia Beach in June, and I brought my husband with me. We came out of that seminar with a completely different mindset. We had faith, we had belief, and we just went for it. Coming out of that, in our first 3 to 4 months after that, we made more than I made in a whole year working as a title clerk for a mortgage company. So over $20,000. We just suggest for anyone who's out there looking at this business today, get started at the highest possible level you can for the highest profits, and get plugged into Danny Johnson's training. You will absolutely not regret it.
Stacey O'Quinn from Louisiana, and before DFI and Coastal Vacations, I was actually in debt, working 50 to 60 hours a week, had no time for my family. I got plugged into Coastal Vacations actually July 27th of 2005 because there's a simple system with training with Danny Johnson. It was a step-by-step process. Even on a part-time basis, coming out of a First Step to Success seminar, I was able to make $13,000 a month of October. My first year in the business, we made 6 figures. After a year and a half, we were over $204,000. I would definitely recommend anyone who wants to be out of debt, anyone who wants a simple system to work with, to get started at the highest level possible, plug into the training right away so you can make money in the next 72 hours.